Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss refining of metal. The topic which we are going to cover in this session is refining of metal. We are getting metals from the extraction of metal. These metals are impure. These metals are not pure. It consists of impurities. We need to remove these impurities. The method of removing the impurities is known as refining of metal. Metals obtained from various reduction are consist of impurities. Process of purification of these metals is known as refining of metal. We are getting a metal after extraction and now we have metal, but that metals are having impurities. We need to remove the impurities. That process is known as refining of metal. Here we are going to discuss a method to refine the metal. The method is electrolytic refining. Electrolytic refining. It is a process of refining the metal with the help of electricity. Copper, zinc, tin, nickel, silver, gold. We can purify these metals using electrolytic refining. So we are going to discuss electrolytic refining. First we will discuss with an example. After that we will write the explanation. So we are going to take an example, copper. Refining of copper. After extraction we are getting copper. The ore of copper is copper sulfide. We are converting that copper sulfide into copper oxide, and after reduction we are getting copper. That copper is not pure. It consists of impurities. We are going to remove that impurities using refining process, electrolytic refining. Here there is copper. This copper is impure, not pure. To purify this copper, we need to take a pure copper. It is impure copper. We are going to take a pure copper piece. It's a strip of pure copper and impure copper. These two copper are the electrodes. We are going to place these two electrodes in copper sulfate solution. If it is zinc, zinc sulfate. Here it is copper, so we are taking copper sulfate. Which metal we are taking? The solution of its salt should be the electrolyte. So we are going to arrange this impure copper and pure copper inside the electrolyte. This is arrangement. There is a container now. In the container we are taking copper sulfate solution, and inside this copper sulfate solution we are arranging the impure copper and pure copper. The impure copper is always anode. So this one should be always anode. The metal which we need to purify, that metal should be anode. The pure metal, the same metal should be cathode. So we are going to connect with the cell, and when we are connecting it with the cell, we can understand that the positive terminal of the battery is connected to impure copper and negative terminal of the battery is connected to pure copper. The switch is off. This one is anode and this one is cathode. Impure copper always anode, pure copper always cathode. What is going to happen when electricity is passing through that solution? We know that in the copper sulfate solution there are ions because it is an electrolyte. Copper sulfate is an electrolyte. There will be positive and negative ions. Here we are going to consider only positive ion, Cu2+. Copper sulfate solution, there will be Cu2+ ions. Now switch is off. Here you can see Cu2+ ion. There are negative ions also. We are going to consider Cu2+ ions only. What is going to happen to this Cu2+ ion? All are positive charge. The positive charge ions are going to move towards cathode because cathode is negative charge. This cathode is having negative charge. All the copper ions are going to move towards cathode. All the copper ions are going to move towards cathode. When there is a shift of copper ions to cathode, at the same time from the anode copper will dissolve into the solution. So here copper is dissolving into the solution and copper is shifting towards cathode. Means the impure copper is dissolving into the solution and all pure copper are depositing at cathode. So what is going to happen? The thickness of this copper will increase, thickness of this copper will decrease because this copper is dissolving into the solution. The dissolving process and deposition both are taking place at the same time, so there won't be any change in the concentration of copper sulfate solution. All the copper ions are depositing at cathode, and at the same time from the anode is dissolving into the solution. So the concentration of the solution remains the same. What is going to happen to this anode and cathode? The thickness of anode it will decrease and thickness of cathode it will increase because all the copper is depositing at cathode. So we can see that the thickness is increasing here thickness is decreasing. Means the anode is dissolving into the solution. If the anode is dissolving into the solution, there are two types of impurities: soluble impurities and insoluble impurities. Soluble impurities will dissolve into the solution, but insoluble impurities will deposit at the bottom of the anode. So here you can see the insoluble impurities. These insoluble impurities are known as anode mud. So this one is anode mud. These insoluble impurities are known as anode mud. Here we are getting pure copper. The thickness of copper has been increased. We are getting pure copper. This method is known as electrolytic refining. Anode mud. Insoluble impurities will settle down at the bottom of anode are known as anode mud. Refining of copper. During electrolytic refining, impure copper is made the anode and thin strip of copper metal is made the cathode. A solution of copper sulfate is used as an electrolyte. On passing the current through the electrolyte, the pure copper from the anode dissolves into the electrolyte. An equivalent amount of pure copper from the electrolyte is deposited on the cathode. Electrolytic refining. Now we can write the general case. In this process, the impure metal is made the anode and thin strip of pure metal is made the cathode. A solution of the metal salt is used as an electrolyte. On passing the current through the electrolyte, the pure metal from the anode dissolves into the electrolyte. An equivalent amount of pure metal from the electrolyte is deposited on the cathode. You can write it in your own words, but you need to go through it and you can learn that. If you have any doubt, you can interact with me using the comment box. Thanks for watching.